Do you remember how last year, everyone was obsessed with this picture of a screaming goat that was supposedly the scariest photo ever taken? Well, turns out we got nothing to fear from that goat, because compared to some of the things in space, that's just adorable. From a planet that rains molten iron, to a creature that can literally tear apart a star. Here are 5 of the most terrifying objects in the universe. No, 5. Starving black hole. Everyone knows black holes are terrifying. Anything that gets too close to one gets pulled in and stretched and crushed until it becomes part of the black hole itself. But they're also capable of something even more terrifying than that. Sometimes a black hole will come across a star, and instead of immediately consuming it, the black hole will actually start to play with its food. Scientists have observed a process called tidal disruption when a star gets way too close to a black hole. The gravitational forces from the black hole begin to stretch the star into a long, thin shape like spaghetti. But before the star is completely destroyed, it starts to rain matter. This matter is superheated plasma, so hot that it glows brightly for years. All of this happens only about 13.5 billion light years away from us. So what should you do if you were ever unlucky enough to find yourself anywhere near a tidal disruption event? Probably not much. The amount of radiation released from these events is incredible, enough to kill any human being instantly. Also, you probably wouldn't be alive to worry about it because chances are that while you were watching this video, supernova would happen, and the energy released would destroy everything within 75 light years of the explosion. And guess what? There's a star that does that every 2 years. 4. A superflare star. In the middle of the Milky Way lies a cluster of stars known as Sigma Octantis. One of these stars is nicknamed Sigma Octantis, but it's also known as the E star because scientists have no idea what it is. It's not a main sequence star like our sun. It doesn't produce energy by fusing hydrogen into helium, and it's big and bright. Far brighter than it should be if it's just a dead star. Plus, every 2 years it goes through these wild explosions, increasing its brightness by 300 times. What's crazy is that this star is only about 6,000 light years away. Imagine living in LA and having a nuclear bomb go off in your backyard. Now imagine that happening every 2 years. At first, scientists thought that this star might be going through a normal stellar life cycle, just a little faster than other stars. Then they realized that there wasn't anything around the star. It didn't have a planetary system or a binary partner star to make the explosion more intense. And then they ruled out the possibility that it had once been a white dwarf, a neutron star, or a black hole, because none of those could explain the erratic behavior. To this day, no one knows what the E star is, although some speculate that it's the burned-out husk of a massive star that used to be way bigger than our sun. If that's true, the E star could go supernova at any moment, and we'd get a front-row seat to one of the biggest fireworks displays in the universe. Maybe NASA should put on some fireworks every July. Number 3. A planet of glass rain. If you were ever on a planet called WASP 39b, you would never be able to escape. First of all, the planet has almost twice the mass of Jupiter, meaning gravity would be a lot stronger than Earth. And second, there's a star that orbits WASP 39b every 11 days. That's right. The planet WASP 39b has its own moon, which makes it an excellent candidate for extraterrestrial life. Well, maybe not life as we know it. We don't know what kind of life could survive on such a weird planet. But according to scientists, there may be life there. Researchers discovered the planet WASP 39b when they noticed that its parent star seemed to be vibrating. They modeled the vibrations and determined that the star was orbiting something 7 times heavier than Earth. The problem is that the planet is incredibly close to its star. It orbits the star in less than a week, which means it's extremely hot. Temperatures reach 723 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt rock and metal and hot enough to rain glass sideways at 9 kilometers per hour. Imagine getting caught outside on a night like that without a jacket. Just to add to that, the atmosphere is a crushing 23 atmospheres. You'd be utterly crushed like a bug under a shoe. Yeah, this planet might be habitable, but it's definitely not habitable for humans. Instead, scientists think that WASP 39b could be home to exotic creatures made of diamond. That's because the swings in temperature combined with the high atmospheric pressure creates the perfect condition to form diamonds. Sure, we found a bunch of diamonds on Earth, but they're pretty small. Diamonds on WASP 39b are predicted to grow to tens of carats in size. So if you live on that planet, Make sure to keep your eyes peeled for lucrative diamond mines. Just watch out for the glass. No. 2. A sea of molten iron. The surface of our sun reaches temperatures of over 5,500 degrees Celsius. No sane person would ever want to step foot on that ball of gas. And yet there is a planet that has surface temperatures that are 3 times hotter. It's called WASP 76b, and it orbits a star that's 850 light-years away from us. We're not exactly sure what WASP 76b is, but it's probably bigger than Jupiter and has a very dense atmosphere. Since we can't see the planet directly, we can only observe its atmosphere by looking at the light from its parent star. When the planet passes in front of the star, some of the starlight filters through the planet's atmosphere. Because of the different chemicals in the atmosphere, some wavelengths of light get blocked, while others shine through, giving scientists an idea of what the atmosphere is made of. And what they found was pretty crazy. WASP 76b has an ocean of molten iron covering the planet. Why? No one really knows. But it might have something to do with the extreme heat from the parent star. Unlike Earth, WASP 76b is extremely close to its star, orbiting it every 11 days. At this distance, it's impossible for an ocean to freeze. Another possibility is that the planet is rich in iron. When iron condenses into a liquid state, it creates this bizarre ocean. And if you were ever unfortunate enough to take a swim, you'd find that it's almost impossible to move. The ocean is hundreds of thousands of times more viscous than water, so you'd feel like you were swimming through honey. And to top it off, you'd be met with crushing atmospheric pressures 30 times greater than Earth's. If you wanted to return to your home planet after your dip, you would have to wade through the iron ocean, climb up out of the atmosphere, and break free of the gravitational pull of the star. If you somehow managed all that, you'd be met with another problem. You'd be bombarded by deadly gamma rays coming from the star. Unless you can survive all of that, you're gonna die. No. 1. A planet without a star. Here's something that you didn't know you needed in your life. Did you know that there are planets that don't orbit a star? These mysterious objects are called rogue planets. Unlike regular planets, they travel through space completely alone, without any star to call their own. Astronomers have found lots of rogue planets, especially ones that are similar in mass to Jupiter. But the question is, how did they get out there? It all has to do with something called planetary migration, when a planet moves away from its star. Usually this happens because a planet gets too close to its star and is flung away by its gravity. But sometimes a planet can migrate in the opposite direction. As a planet orbits its star, it can get dangerously close to another star in a binary system. This can destabilize the orbit and send the planet flying into interstellar space. It's unclear how many planets have migrated this way, but astronomers predict that there could be as many as 50 billion rogue planets out there. All of them are candidates for interesting astronomical research because we still do and know how a planet could survive without a star. We mean, sure, there's a few moons in the solar system that have atmospheres, but they're teeny tiny moons, and they still orbit a star. Rogue planets, on the other hand, are massive, and they're drifting around completely alone. It must have some sort of atmosphere, but we don't know what it's like. Is it breathable? Could humans survive on it? Or is it an alien world that we're not prepared for? If you want to learn more about our crazy universe, click the link above to watch one of these next videos.